If you have a feeling that your SQL code looks like a spaghetti bolognese and could be written a little bit simpler, then it definitely can. Even though you understand how your query works now, in 6 months you would curse a person who managed to write something like this. Only to realize it was you. Don't ask how I know that. So in this video I will show you 6 different built-in functions you probably didn't know, so you can simplify your query in Snowflake. First of all, let's start with a tip about query aggregation. Did you know you can group by all columns in your query? There is no need to include all of them one by one every single time you modify your query. Try the syntax if your query is grouped by all columns, which tends to be quite often. I know this tip is not a rocket science, but it can simplify your query development a bit and increase readability. To filter results in SQL queries based on window functions, you would usually use a separate CTE or a subquery. This is not really an elegant solution, especially when you do simple rank and you just want to get the first few records. For a long time, there was no other option until Qualify was introduced. Qualify is like a having but for window functions instead of aggregate functions. So you can use it instead of a CTE or a subquery. Even though Snowflake wasn't the first one who started to support this, there is still not many SQL dialects where it works. So keep it in mind, this is not an ANSI standard and it's not available in every SQL dialect. How many times did you use a query like this only to count occurrence with a certain condition? I know I did that a lot too, but you can easily replace it in Snowflake using countif function, which performs a count based on a condition without the need for wrapping it in case when statement. Using replace to change or remove not needed characters from SQL query is really common. This function is great for most of the cases, but for complex one you may find using translate much better, which in the first example it replaces XYZ with empty string, and in the second one it changes Spanish letter into an English letter. Keep in mind, this particular function does not translate languages. You can do so with Snowflake Cortex function. It just replaces characters. To find different patterns in the same column, I often see multiple like statements. To simplify it, Snowflake addresses this issue with the like any operator, which simplifies pattern matching across multiple values. Like any allows you to check if a string matches any pattern in a list, making your queries more readable. This feature eliminates the need for multiple or conditions. Similar to previous example, to find a pattern in a column, you would use like keyword. But to make sure it works properly, you would usually use upper on the both sides of the statement just to make sure you are comparing right values. In Snowflake, you can simply use I like instead. You can translate it to insensitive like, which ignore case sensitivity. You can even combine it with any, same as in a previous example. So for a bonus, if you are developing your query and want to quickly exclude some of columns from an output, then you can use just select star and exclude a name of these columns. So you can see on this example how it looks like. We are excluding 2 of them, the customer key and the phone, which are not available here. You can let's actually move it here. So to make it more readable, as you may see, customer key and the phone are here, here are not. So you can also find a particular columns based on the pattern during development. So you can compare those two. You can use ILAC directly in a select star statement versus find it in a system table, in an information schema. This one is definitely simpler, so I would recommend to use that one. This is really cool, and also to rename some of the columns from an output during a development, to do not list all of them and just to rename one column. It's really cool feature, but I'm just pointing out during development every single time, because applying select star in your data engineering pipelines, in your data pipelines, isn't really great, because if the schema changes, then you have a lot of problems. So that's why I wanted to mention here. And also, if you're in the worksheet, you can just, for a particular worksheet, format your query. So now it is more standardized, it looks much better. This is just a simple select star statement, but for multiple joins, conditions, etc., this can really help understanding what the code is doing. I hope that makes sense to you. In these examples, I've tried to show you the most common tips I usually use for data pipelines development to simplify a code a bit. I'm actually a fan of simplifying things, so you may expect more content like this from me. If you know other tips, I would love to hear them in the comments below. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Ciao!